Hey guys, in this video we'll cover the basics of Python. These are the topics that we'll cover in the video from strings, list, dictionary, and these are the timestamps where we start discussing the topics. Feel free to jump into these timestamps if you already know the topic. Let's jump right in. If you're watching this on YouTube, you might also like to check out the Mathematics for Digital Technology GitHub, where we have a lot of notebooks and a lot of exercises. So here we'll discuss on the basic data type that Python provides us. Here I'll assign a integer value 5 to the variable num and let's print it out. I'll click on the play button to run this cell and yes, we get our output. Now let's see the type of variable using built-in type. So we have an integer type variable here. Now we will create a float variable and assign it a value around like 6.5. We can print it and we can print the type again to see the type of the variable that is assigned. So now we have two variables. One is an integer and one is a float variable. Unlike in other programming languages, we can perform various multiple mathematical operations on these numbers. Now let's say I do a num plus 2, it should print me 7. Num minus 2 should print me 3. Similarly, we'll try different mathematical operations on these numbers. You can see that we have the correct output. Let's do some more. Now we'll perform division, multiplication, and square of the numbers. Run this cell again and we'll see the output. So we see the correct output here. Unlike in other programming languages, we also have some shortcuts like num plus equals to any number, so it will increment the value of the number by that much. If I do num plus equals to 3, it will give me 8. Now, like other programming languages, Python also provides us Boolean variables. So now we will initialize two variables as Boolean, true or false, and we'll evaluate these variables on different conditions like and, or, not, XOR, these kind of conditions. So we'll assign T and F as true or false, and let's print out the type of these variables. We'll see the type as bool. Now if we print T or F, means if any one of them is true, it should print true. Yeah, we got true. Now if T and F, we'll see if any one of them is false, it should print false. Now let's talk about strings. Like many other programming languages, strings in Python are an array of bytes representing Unicode characters. So we'll assign a variable D to digital and T for technology, and we'll print a string concatenation D space plus T. It should give us digital technology. So yeah, here we go. Now let's talk about another method of string concatenation using dot format method. The dot format method takes the passed arguments and places them in the string wherever the placeholder are. So here we have two placeholders, 1 and 0, and we'll place D and T there and we get a similar output. Now let's talk about various string functions that string library provides us, like d.capitalize. So it will capitalize the first letter of our string. Similarly, we'll have d.upper, which will capitalize our entire string. D.replace will replace the alphabet that we give here to the desired alphabet. So we want to replace D by G. So we get the required output that is desired. Now we'll replace the empty spaces in any string. So I have put in some empty spaces and we'll use d.strip to remove these empty spaces. Let's run this cell and see the output. You see we don't have any empty spaces now. Now let's see list collection in action. Here I'll create a Python list and print the type of this variable. We see the type is list, so we can perform different list operations on this variable. So if we want to access the second value in the list, we see this, we get 9. Let's replace this variable by any string. We replace 9 by string, so we get that output here. We can also add new values to the list using list.append method. So I will add a new value to the list and let's print the list now. So our list length incremented by 1. Now we'll see what are the different ways we can access the list items. Also we'll talk about list slicing. Let's quickly create a list using list range. We will get a list of length 7 with members from 0 to 6. Now let's see the list values between 2 to 5 using list slicing. We get the values 2, 3, 4 which are between 2 to 5. And list -1 gives us the last value in our list. Now we'll use the list indexes to see the first 4 and the last 4 members of the list. There are other many important list functions like extend, insert, remove. You can explore on these on your own. Now let's see how do we use loops with the lists. We'll again create a list and use this list in a for loop. For creating a loop with list, this is the basic syntax, like for value in the list, we'll print the value. So it will loop through all the variables in the list and we see the output. A more Pythonic way of doing the same is using list comprehension. So list comprehension provides us with a powerful tool in which we can shorten the line of code that is in our code base to a very small amount. The basic syntax of list comprehension is the first we'll add the expression. So here the expression is x square for all the items in the list. Oh, and we need to define a list for list comprehension to work. So we'll quickly define a list like we did previously. If we print this out, we'll get a list with all the squared values. So this is just a basic introduction to list comprehension. There are a lot of things that you can do. Now let's quickly talk about dictionary data type. A dictionary is a collection which is unordered, changeable, and indexed. In Python, dictionaries are written in curly braces and have key and values. You can access the items of a dictionary by referring to its key name inside the square braces. We'll see that in a moment. Here in this dictionary, I'll define 3 key value pairs: sky blue, glass green, and a red flower. variable and see the dictionary in the memory. We can also change the value in a dictionary by referring to its key name. Let's print out the value that is associated with the key name sky. So we get the value name. Similarly, we can also loop through a dictionary using a key value pair. Here I will print out the key value pairs using this format function that we saw before. We'll run this cell and we'll see our desired output. Now let's talk about a set. A set is an unordered unit collection of an object. And unlike list or tuple, we cannot have a multiple occurrence of the same element in a set. A set is also defined like a dictionary, but it does not have a key value pair. So we'll define a set, a car, truck, and bike. We can also add new value to the set using set.add function. So here I'll add a new vehicle to the vehicle set. And I'll print the updated set. We can also remove anything from the set using set.remove. And like other collections, we can also loop through all the values that are in a set. So similar to the list, we can also loop through a set using a for loop. So I just created a for loop and we loop a set. Our last collection in our discussion is a tuple. A tuple is similar to a list, but the only difference is that a tuple is immutable, means we cannot change a tuple that we had created. We will try to change this tuple by adding one more number to it, and we'll try to print the updated tuple. But we'll see where we get an error that this function is not defined because we cannot change the tuple. Like other collections we just saw, we can also use a for loop to loop through the tuple. One advantage that tuple gives us is unlike list or set, we can use a tuple as a key in a dictionary. So we'll quickly dive into creating a dictionary comprehension using a tuple as its key value. So first we have defined a tuple, and I will write a dictionary comprehension for generating this dictionary. So we'll see our dictionary created by dictionary comprehension using tuple as its key value. So we can see the tuple here, and our dictionary is generated using the dictionary comprehension. Now let's quickly dive into the functions. Like other programming languages, functions in Python provide us a modular way of writing our logic, and it is defined using a def keyword. Here I've created a multiplication function, and I will call this function by its name. Mul2 4, it should give me an 8. Similarly, I can also define another function. I'll also define an addition function that will give me an addition of the two numbers. I'll call this addition function inside my print function. So add 3 and 5 would give me again an 8. Now let's talk about classes. Python is an object-oriented language, and almost everything in Python is an object. A class is like an object constructor. It's like a blueprint for creating objects. So We create a class in Python using class keyword, and the init function is the constructor for this class. All classes have a function called init, which is always executed when the class is being initiated. You will also create a greet function in this class. So whenever a class object calls the greet function, it will print a hello with the caller name. Now we will create an object of this class. The class object will be instantiated with the name of learner, and when this object will call the greet function, the function will print out a greet message for the learner. So guys, this was a very brief overview of Python. Next we'll learn about NumPy and Matplotlib. Looking forward to meet you again. Alright, till next time.